Hey guys, it's Tamara Bennett from Southern Adornments Decor, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Normally on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central, I come live and I paint with you all. And today we may do a little painting, but we may not. It's going to be a live Q&A session. So what I want you to do is ask anything that has to do with door hangers or lasers or just anything, like how I got started in this business. It doesn't matter what it is. Bring me all your questions. And I've also got my little mixed media pad here, and if I need to like demonstrate a technique or show you something, I've got my little pad out here and I can do that. I've got a couple of really cute door hangers behind me I want to show you real quick. So this is the one we painted last Tuesday. So if you missed this, go back and watch this tutorial. It was really fun. And even after the live last Tuesday, I went back and added some little details. I got to playing around with the glitter paint. Do you see the little swirls of glitter on his hat and all of that? I went back and added that using some of this dimensional fabric paint. So yeah, it's fabric paint, but it works. And I'm pretty sure this bottle is like 25, 30 years old, because I think it was probably my mother's way back in the day when she used to do holiday sweatshirts. But anyway, this other design we painted in the Painters Clubhouse. Look how cute this little leopard is, this little snow leopard. We painted her in the clubhouse last week, I guess it was. So if you're not in the Painters Clubhouse, you should join and you can go paint this design. Okay, let me see. Oh, everybody's in the comments. It takes a minute for you guys to get here. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Brenda and Riley. Hey, Sheila, Cheryl, and Ann. Thank you, Diane. So today we're just doing a live Q&A. You can ask me anything. Like I said, I've got my little mixed media pad out here. So if a question pertains to some kind of painting technique or how to do something with a brush or whatever, I've got my paints and everything handy, so we can do that. We're also going to do a giveaway today. Our giveaway is going to be this Artistro watercolor paint set. They sent me some of these to give to you guys, and they come in this really neat little case. They're $25.99 on Amazon. Look at the, ooh, I didn't realize how it like holograms when you look at the case. But these are called Chameleon Metallic Watercolors. Whoops. So when you open it up, let me get all this stuff off of here. Up here, it's got a little brush that holds water, a regular brush, a metallic marker or pen, and then it's got all of these really beautiful metallic sort of color flip colors. And then it also comes with like little where you can make color swatches and stuff like that. So if you like to watercolor, I'm not a really experienced watercolor person. Like I like to dabble and play with them, but I also feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you like watercolors, or if you know somebody who likes watercolors, this would make a really lovely gift set, because this is not a typical set of watercolor paints. It's the Chameleon Metallic watercolors. So they come with all of those beautiful colors that appear to like shimmer and change color as you flip them in the light. And there's 12 metallic colors and 6 chameleon colors in this set. Now, if you want to buy some of these, because I know not everybody can win, we are giving away one set. All you got to do to win the set is comment, and we're going to pick somebody but between now and noon tomorrow, and we will draw a winner. If you don't win these and you want to get some as a gift for somebody, I did put the link in Amazon up above, and there's a 20% off coupon that you can use. The coupon's only good till December 19th, though.
You're not on TikTok, are you?
No, not live on TikTok today. I should be, but I forgot to set that up.
You got a question?
Okay, I see our first question. Diane Englert says, how do I put a hanger on my door hanger for outside? So you're asking like how to attach the string, right? We can totally go over that. Let me grab my staple gun and some jute string. Actually, I could probably just take the back off of this one and just demonstrate to you real quick how I do this. Let me just pop this off of here. So some people choose to drill holes in their door hanger and feed wire or string through those holes. I've always felt like that felt like too much work. And I always worry that I'll like crack the board and mess up all the beautiful paint if I drill a hole. So I came up with this little method of using a staple gun, and I use 1/4-inch thick staples. This is a Stanley brand staple gun. You can get them at Lowe's or on Amazon, and it's got 1/4-inch size staples in it. I'll have to slow down so I can talk clearly. And if you notice, I've got this little piece of tape on here. Underneath that tape is like a little piece of cardboard. The reason that's there is so that when I go to staple in here, the staple gun is not sitting completely flush against the wood. It's got like a little buffer, right? And so I've got my jute string. I tied a knot in each end. You know, I forgot I set up an overhead camera. This will be a lot easier to show you sitting down with my board here. All right, so I've got a knot on each end.
Wow.
I totally forgot I had the technology set up here. And then I'm just going to staple above each knot. So, and a little trick also, if you're not sure where to put it, kind of hold your door hanger up, especially if it's an awkward shape that you're like, I'm not sure how it's going to be balanced. Kind of hold it up. And, you know, if you hold your fingers like this, obviously it's not going to be balanced. So you got to kind of pull your fingers apart, find where it feels balanced, and then wherever your thumbs are on the back is where you should staple your string. So I'm gonna put this string here, and then of course that knot keeps that from coming out, and then I'm gonna staple it in the same spot on the other side, and there we go. Does that help? Do you have any follow-up questions about how to hang a door hanger?
We've got another one. What's the best sealer you use for your door hangers?
What's the best sealer? All right. This is going to require me to get up lots of times during this live just so I have props to show you. But I've got a couple of different ones. Mainly, these two are my tried and true ones that I use the most. So this one you can find at probably Lowe's and Walmart. This one you actually have to order from the DecoArt website or perhaps purchase it like at Hobby Lobby or somewhere. This is triple thick gloss glaze. This gives me a higher sheen than this one. This one probably cost a little bit more, but I like them both. And so the trick with sealers is to make sure you get some that does not have polyurethane in it, because polyurethane will cause stuff to yellow over time. And so you want to make sure that whatever you're getting is like a polyacrylic base. I was looking on the back to see if it kind of told what it is. But like if it's polyurethane, it usually says on it polyurethane. So just make sure you don't get any that has the polyurethane. These two are tried and true good ones to use. I like a high gloss because I use matte paints. And so they don't have any shine to them. And I just feel like it makes everything look so much better once it's gotten a nice clear coat. Also, make sure that when you go to pick up your spray sealer that you're actually getting your clear one. I can't tell you how many of my friends on here have accidentally picked up a white paint or a black paint and just started spraying, and the next thing you know, they've ruined their door hanger. So don't let that be you.
What's the name of the frame you have on your pair eyewear?
Oh, yep, my glasses. So these are pair eyewear. This is the Elf Stripes topper. I got some new Christmas ones recently. I'll show you what they are. So we've got Elf Stripes, which is what I'm wearing today. Matches my shirt. This is an old shirt from Framed by Sarah, I think. This also matches pretty good. It's a holiday plaid. And then I also got these that have Christmas lights on them. So fun little holiday toppers. And if you've never heard of pair eyewear, I'll put my pair eyewear link down in the comments for you. They are prescription glasses. I have the Larkin toppers. They're $60. The only thing you're going to have to pay more for is if you want transition lenses or progressive lenses or anything like that. But if you have just standard prescription, they're $60. And then you also get some toppers with that as well. Marie says 2023 is my year of watercolor. It's the new thing I want to learn next year. I love how you're picking something. You know how people usually choose a word, Marie? They choose a word of the year. I love that you're picking like a craft or a technique of the year that you want to learn. That's a great idea.
What is the smallest size of round you can use?
The smallest size of round Is there a smallest size? So Deborah, the most common size that I've seen is 18 inches. We do sell different sizes in our shop. The smallest size I think we offer is 10 inches. So that would be, about like this right here, which is probably appropriate for sitting on a shelf or hanging on a wreath or something like that. But if we're talking about a door hanger for your door, especially if it's an exterior door on your home, I probably wouldn't go smaller than 16 inches. Now, if we're talking like an interior door or a child's bedroom door, 12 or 14 inches might also work. But as far as what we offer, 10 is the smallest we offer in our store. Okay. Tanya says, do you have any tricks on hand lettering? Yeah. So I need some follow-up questions. So let's do like a quick follow-up questions about hand lettering. What do y'all have? I will tell you a few tricks that I know, but if y'all have specific questions, drop them in the comments. Let me get me a little paint palette here. I've got my little silicone ice cube tray. I just cleaned this thing out. I had it still had paint in it from when I was at Christy Hawkins' event back in October. Here, we'll just use this side since it's already got stuff on it. I'll just get some blue paint. So one trick is to use, if you're doing like cutesy print, is to use like a filbert tip brush. Do you see how the end of it is shaped kind of like the end of a finger? It doesn't have any right angles on the ends of the bristles. It's a filbert tip brush. Dampen your brush just a little bit with some water. Get the excess water off there. So I kind of like smooth the bristles out. And then this is just going to be jam-packed with tips apparently. Another tip is to make sure that your paint is in a nice little puddle. So if you're working on a paper plate, your paint is going to spread out, right? If you can keep it in a nice little puddle like this, even if you're just keeping it in the lid of your paint bottle and you've like poured it in there or something that keeps it puddled, that's part of the importance of loading your brush. So I can stick my brush in here and I've got quite a bit of paint on that brush just by dipping it in that little puddle. And so if I'm doing just a cute font that says, what are we going to write? Hello. With this filbert tip brush, I can just do some cutesy letters. You push down and you just, instead of like, don't let your brush do like this at the end of the letter, push down, lift directly up. Also, constantly dip your brush in the paint.
All right, talk to me about how thin the paint needs to be.
So it depends on the kind of lettering you're doing. Like for this kind of lettering, I don't necessarily want my paint to be thin. But if you're doing script lettering, a lot of times you need your paint to flow a little better. So sometimes I will thin the paint out just a tiny bit. But do you see how I'm able to do simple, cutesy letters because the end of this filbert tip brush is just nice and blunt. And so it creates that little bit of like a, not bubble lettering, but just cutesy. So if we're talking about another kind of lettering, let me rinse this. Well, I don't know why I rinsed it out. I'm fixing to use it again. We've got our filbert tip brush here, and let's do like a script, the script word hello. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You could do it with your round tip brush. That's what this is. See how it looks like a little pointed tip. And different ones have different thicknesses. So let me show you a different one. See this one right here? That one has a whole lot of bristles. That's going to make really thick letters. So if you're wanting dainty, scripty looking letters, you need to use a thinner one like this. You might even need to thin your paint out just a little bit. I'm not going to do that right now, but like I did the word love here. And just think about drawing your letters instead of writing them. So I'm kind of drawing that upstroke and then my downstroke. But see how that downstroke is real thin? I can apply more pressure, flatten those bristles out, and then let up on the pressure as I come to the end of the letter. And it'll make a thicker downstroke. Same thing for my O. Press it down, lift up. And then we're going to I'm going to go the opposite direction. Instead of bringing it up this way, because it's going to push my bristles in an awkward direction, I'm going to go the opposite direction and bring it back to connect. And then I'm going to make a loop and I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure so I have a little bit of a thicker stroke. Apply pressure here. You just kind of have to think about your upstrokes and your downstrokes. So when I go down, I'm applying pressure. And then on a stroke that would normally go up, I'm using very little pressure.
takes practice is the thing.
It does take practice. So flatten it out to do that final stroke. You could also kind of draw this out with a pencil first if you need, you need a little bit of something to trace. So if you need something to trace, draw it out first and then use your brush to trace over it. Now, if you're struggling with the pressure, see how I did thicker downstrokes because I applied more pressure. If that is a struggle for you, here's a little hack. So let's start with the downstroke first. So if I want a thicker stroke, I'm going to go with that filbert tip brush that we just used. Actually, this one's a little big. Let's go with a slightly smaller one. That one was going to make some real chunky downstrokes. Where is that little bitty brush I was using the other day? I swear sometimes my paintbrushes walk away. Or I have a daughter named Charlie who likes to use them. Where did it go? Okay, I don't know where that brush is that I was using the other day. So we may have to go with thicker lettering anyway. Okay, this is about the same size, but it's a tiny bit smaller. So for a thicker downstroke, yeah, that's way too big. You see what I just did? So we're going to have to do a big letter for me to demonstrate this. So I'm going to do it even bigger so you can see it better. And because this brush is a little wide. Do you see how that was way too wide to do that lettering? So now I can do a downstroke with this brush for this letter. And then if I want a thinner upstroke, I'm going to switch to my round tip brush and use it to draw, not letter, but like draw the upstroke. And this is an upstroke here. So I'm going to use the thinner one here. Switch to the thicker one and do a downstroke. So that's kind of like a little hack if you struggle with using different pressures. If you don't want to switch between brushes, another way you could do this is to just trace over your lines like so, and then trace over your downstroke line again. And just kind of go out just a little wider with it. So whichever way, there's all kinds of ways you can do this. Okay, I'm sure we've got more questions.
Does a sawtooth hanger work on a door hanger?
I've never used sawtooth hangers on my door hangers, Deborah, but that's like a picture hanger, right? When she says sawtooth hanger.
Yeah, it's a little bar with sawtooth.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Screw hole on each end.
Unless you're hanging it up on a wall inside your home, I probably wouldn't do that because, if we're hanging this on a door, it's going to hang too close to the door, and you'd have to have an actual nail to hang that on. So I probably wouldn't do that unless you're putting it up kind of like a picture in your house.
All right, Vicky's got a good question. If I add a foil to an object and didn't like it, how do I remove it?
I think the only way to do that, Vicky, is to sand the foil away. So you could take like a little tiny piece of sandpaper or something and just work like in a circular motion until it starts to buff that away. That's about the only way to do that.
Sandy's asking about your ice cube tray.
Sandy, I got this one at Christy Hawkins' event. It's just a silicone bottomed ice cube tray. What's great about it is you can kind of push up on the bottoms and peel the paint out after it dries. So,
top too.
Oh, the top. Yeah, it comes with a little lid. So, like I said, I went to Christy's event back in October. The paint in this was still wet up until a couple of days ago. And I finally was like, all right, some of it's starting to dry out. I need to just leave the lid off of it for a few days. But this lid is, it holds on really well. Like that's not coming off very easily. You have to pull to get it off. So it does have a nice seal on it. I think you can get these on Amazon also. But it makes it really easy to clean up. Just let everything dry out. Don't wash it out necessarily. I mean, like I could probably, if I wanted all these little bits and pieces, scrub this in the sink and get the rest of it off. But for the most part, if you let them dry out, you can just peel your paint out. It's kind of satisfying.
Kelly's asking, why did we get the October Template Club templates again? There was some updates that just went out.
Okay, so Kelly, about the October Template Club templates, we did an update on some of the files, and so we sent the update like a notice to you guys that some of those files have been updated. We had to make some corrections on them. What color represents a midnight sky or a night sky for the bonfire blank? The bonfire blank. Let me go look that one up because in my mind I'm like struggling to remember what the background of that one looks like.
Sheila's wanting you to do a paint pour with clear ornaments.
Okay, I'm searching for the bonfire one so I can see what you. Oh, I see. It's kind of like a navy blue is what she's talking about. So I don't usually have very many navy colors because that's not a color I use very often at all. So if you don't have a color either, I would almost take a blue like this and just add a couple of drops of black to it and then do like a little test spot and see if that's dark enough. If it's not, you could always mix a little bit more, but this is just true blue. So you could add a little bit of that. Another color that might work well is this Victorian blue I love, but it's almost not dark enough for that nighttime sky. So I would add a little bit of black or maybe start with this in the center and fade out to more of a blackish blue on the outside, like an ombre. Cheryl says, I love this lettering idea. I can handle that. Good, good, good. Can you demonstrate a paint pour with the clear ornaments? Oh goodness. I could if I had a place to like set all that up right now, but that requires a little bit of setup in advance because you have to have like a tray and then you have to have the skewers and all of that. So let me explain my process with that. So there's a couple of different ways that I've done it in the past. Once before I used like a foam egg carton and I poked bamboo skewers down in them to support the skewers. And then I turned the ornaments upside down on top of that. Another way I did it was I took just a scrap piece of wood block and drilled little holes in it and stuck my skewers in that. Or you could just have like a tray or a piece of aluminum foil or something underneath it to catch your drips. If you don't want to do it on the outside of your ornament, you could actually use a tiny funnel and pour it inside your ornament and then just swirl it around that way. And that's actually a much less messier way. That's the way we're going to do it with our Bible class kids this Sunday at church. So I'll let you know how that goes. We did it the other way last time, and the kids didn't like that it took so long for the paint to dry that they couldn't take their ornaments home right away. So we're hoping that by doing it on the inside, they'll be able to take them home immediately. Let's see. Do your templates come with commercial use to be able to sell our projects? If it's a painted project, yes, Laura. So it does come with commercial use for you to be able to paint something like what you see behind me and to sell the painted piece. It does not come with commercial use to be able to sell the wood blanks that are laser etched and stuff, because that's kind of like the same exact thing that we sell in our shop with the laser etched blanks. But if it's a painted project, yes. You can also teach them in paint parties and things. Nanette says, I really miss you, PC Sisters. I miss showing what I've been making. Well, come back to us, Nanette. We miss you too. Hey, Delaney. And then Melissa says, for your glasses, did the eye doctor have to send the prescription or did you when you order them? So I got my eye doctor to email me my prescription and I just forwarded that email onto Pair Eyewear. Can you review how to antique on paintings or letters? Are you talking about with the glazing medium? Is that what we're talking about, Delaney? How to antique. So this glazing medium, I've used it on door hangers and I've used it on ceramics before. And you mix it with, it says on here, add 35% acrylic paint. And you also are supposed to mix with water. I don't think I've ever mixed it with water, actually. So I probably don't follow the instructions. But you can mix a little bit of acrylic paint in with it. I've mixed like brown in with this and then used it on top of a door hanger. And it creates a really cool like antiquing glaze look so that it looks sort of rustic.
Yeah, she says just to make something look rustic.
And then I've also done that on ceramics before too, to kind of tone them down a little bit and make them look a little bit more rustic. So this is the stuff I use. It's a DecoArt product, glazing medium. Little goes a long way. And so the technique to do that is you mix it with your paint and then you dab the paint on the area you're working on and have paper towels handy. If you were doing this on a door hanger though, what I would recommend is sealing your door hanger first, because if you don't seal it first, you're working with a really dry matte paint and this stuff's going to stick to that real bad. And the point is you want to put it on there and be able to wipe it away, right? So seal your door hanger first so it's a little slicker, and this stuff will swipe off of it easier. So seal it, then apply your glaze and your paint mixture. And then sometimes it's better to work in small areas. If you're slower, if you're quick, you can do the whole thing at one time, but use a bunch of paper towels, baby wipes if it's not taking off enough, and wipe away the excess, and you should be left with a really nice like antique look. Cynthia says, do you have any information for the Destin event? So yes, Cynthia, we have actually almost sold, or we're almost sold out at the current moment for that event, but we do have a wait list. So if anybody did not get tickets or get to put down your deposit for the Southern Adornments live event that's going to be in Destin next year, September 29th and 30th, 2023, you can email customer support and we will put you on our wait list, because we have had a few cancellations. So as people cancel, we've been backfilling those spots from the wait list. So if you have already purchased a ticket, what I advise you do is find the SA Live Dallas, or I wanted to say Dallas, SA Live Destin Facebook group. We have a Facebook group on here, and that is where you'll find information about the hotel you need to book and all of that good stuff.
Okay, where do we order the foils from?
Okay, foils are from Artistic Painting Studio. I'll go grab my link for you. And while you're in there, I would advise you go ahead and get their foil adhesive as well, because that's the kind of adhesive that you're going to have to be able to use the foils, because just regular adhesive, you can't use like Mod Podge or anything like that. It has to be their foil adhesive.
Debbie wants to know how many spots total at Destin.
Well, that's the thing, Debbie. We had capped it at 150 people, but we sold those spots like that. So then we increased the cap to our maximum, which the room can only hold 200 people. And so we capped it at 200, and we're trying to keep it under that. So as people cancel, we're backfilling spots.
Do we have hotel information? Yes, they should have got
Yes.
an email and be members of the group.
Yeah. So Becky, if you have your ticket already purchased, you should have already gotten an email about the hotel and an invitation to Laura says, well, that's weird. I didn't click for that to come back up, but it just did. Laura says, if I have resin that's about a year old and one bottle is changing color, do you think I can still use it on projects? If it's changing color, that would give me some pause. I'm not quite sure. That sounds more like a question for Cindy Manley. She is the glass and resin artist. And so if you hop on one of her lives sometime while she's live and ask that, I bet she would be able to answer that for you, but I don't really know. I'd be afraid to use it if it was changing color. Cynthia wants to know when that email went out.
A week ago Monday.
A week ago Monday, Cynthia.
It was resent to people who didn't open it.
And then we resent it to everybody who didn't get to open it. So if you can't find it, go email support. All right. What other questions do you guys have? We're having a live Q&A today. I'm answering any and all questions you have about door hangers, about how I got started in this business, about paint parties, or haven't done paint parties in a long time. So that I may have to dig back in my brain for answers on that. But we are also, if you're just now hopping on, giving away this watercolor paint set. It is a set of 12 metallic and 6 chameleon colors from Artistro. So all you have to do is leave a comment. So if you're a lurker and you're not commenting, drop a comment for us. And we're going to draw a winner tomorrow at noon for that paint set. It's normally $25.99 on Amazon, but you can get it at 20% off if you use the code that I left up at the top. Hello, Irma. Ange got a scroll saw. Yay. When are you going to make your first cut? Are you scared? I saw somebody in the Painters Clubhouse recently use a router to cut out a door hanger. I've never tried that before, but she said that it was so easy. And so she was highly recommending that. But I've always used a jigsaw or a laser machine. Okay, Tina says, what set of brushes is good for a starter? So Tina, usually at like Walmart or somewhere, you can get a cheap set of brushes. A lot of times they'll have like this blue handle and like a little, a little gold ferrule. And they usually have like this golden nylon bristle, right? And so this is the type of brush you're going to want. See how those bristles spring back up to life really easily? That's what you're going to want. And so try to find like a variety pack that has different sizes and shapes, because you're going to want some that are round tip like this. You're going to want some that are more like a flat tip like this. So just make sure it's got a variety of shapes and sizes. You're also going to want to make sure you have at least one that's quite bigger than the other. I mean, really, if I only had to have a few brushes, I would probably pick one big flat tip, one medium flat tip. I would choose a small round, a small filbert tip. And remember, filbert's the one that looks like the end of your finger. It's just kind of curved right there. What else? A lot of people love these angle tip brushes. I almost never use an angle tip brush, but everybody loves these. So I think it's just whatever you get used to. So if you like angle tip brushes, grab one of those. Fan brushes. You may not hardly ever see me use a fan brush, but if you're doing landscapes or anything with trees, you're going to want this. Or if you just want to play and do splatter paint, fan brushes are good to have. But I'm looking over here, like those are pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 brushes is really all you need to get started. You don't need a ton of different sizes. It's just different kinds of brushes. Put all these back up.
Would you happen to have a catalog of all the door hangers you have that we can use to show our party guests?
Oh, I wish I did, Melissa, but we've got over 1,000 different designs in our shop. So that would be quite the undertaking to make a catalog. However, if you're a template club member, every month when we send out a new bundle of templates, there's always like a at a glance sheet, if you will, that has like all of the designs laid out on that sheet, kind of like you see on the right side of the screen there, that you can kind of like print that out. You can put it in like a little folder or a binder if you want. So if you're a template club member, you should print that sheet out and kind of like keep like a little binder of those.
What is the paintbrush paint pens you usually have on here?
Paintbrush paint pens. The
Artista ones?
I used these this past Tuesday. Maybe that's what we're thinking of. Or maybe actually I used these, I think, in the Painters Clubhouse recently. So these are by Artista also. They're brush paint pens. And these you do not pump. Like they already have a tip that's more pointed. And so if I wanted to do lettering with this, I could, do like a skinny upstroke and then kind of thicken my downstroke. To me, the paint looks a little different out of these than it does out of the regular paint pens. It looks more like a marker, instead of like paint. But they're still really good. I like them for certain uses. Like if I was having to do something really fine, or if I wanted to be able to do thicker and thinner strokes, these are really good to have on hand. But these are the brush paint pens. They are water-based, multi-surface, quick drying. They come with a variety of colors and a pack of 16 of them. It says 8 basic colors and 8 metallics. There's also some like silver and copper and gold and stuff in here. I like that it's got this little thing in the top that says store horizontally. I never store them horizontally. I always leave them up like this. I've never noticed that. But these are kind of cool because you don't have to pump or anything. You just start painting with them and they just flow really nicely. So they're good ones. Store horizontally. So I guess I should leave the box like this from now on.
Everybody that walks by will set it up. Sherry wants to know, she has a router, and what was the size of blade for that?
I do not know. I have no idea. But I think that if you're a Clubhouse member, I would go back to that post in the Clubhouse and ask her. I've never done it, so I really can't give any advice on how to use a router to cut a door hanger.
Stephanie wants to know, when your brush bristles fray, what do you do?
Ooh, that's a great question. So if you have some some brushes. I've probably got one or two over here that I could demo with or show you. Let me find a white piece of paper so I can hold this up and you can see. You see how the bristles are starting to kind of go out to the sides, like, and it doesn't seem to matter if I use water or not. I can't get these bristles to like smooth out and make a nice little point. They just still want to go. So if that's happening to you, clean your brushes really well. Then take a pot of boiling water. And while the water is boiling, just hold it in there for like 5 seconds and then pull it out. And that should cause your bristles to go whoop, and they'll go right back to the way they were supposed to be before, and then lay them aside to dry. When you're washing brushes, to prevent this from happening, try to avoid like doing this number inside your paint cup, right? So I've got my little water cup here. Try to avoid doing this really hard. I mean, if you must do it gently, and then kind of like brush your brush back and forth across the bottom of your cup, swirl it around a little bit, but try to avoid just jamming it real hard, because that causes those bristles to kind of like, it's like teasing your hair, right? When you do that, you've got pieces of hair all jammed up in there, and you don't want that to happen. So just kind of swirl them gently, give them a gentle tap. Be kind to your brushes.
Tammy's just now found you and wants to know what you're talking about.
Tammy, I teach door hanger painting. So if you see these designs hanging up behind me, these are ones that I've taught. This was taught live here on Facebook and YouTube last Tuesday. And then I taught this one inside my private membership, the Painters Clubhouse. And so if you're not a Clubhouse member, you're welcome to come and join us. You go to paintersclubhouse.com to learn more about it.
What kind of machine do you use to cut out your door hanger?
I use a Thunder Laser Nova 24. So there's different ones. There's different sizes. I also have a big Thunder Laser that's got like an 8-foot long cutting bed out in my shop. But out in my garage, I have just a smaller one that has like a 24-inch by 15-inch cutting bed. And so that's what I use to cut these designs that you see hanging up behind me. It can laser etch the design. So I don't have to like freehand the lettering on designs like this. It lasers them in the surface. And then when I paint over those letters with the background color, I can still see the outline of those letters. And then I just go in and I paint them inside the lines. It's nice and easy.
Wanda loved the tip about this car wash sponge.
Oh, the car wash sponge tip. Yes. If you guys haven't purchased a cheap car wash sponge from the Dollar Tree, I advise you do it and use it to paint the background of something. If you're having to paint like a door hanger all white to start, that's the perfect way to do it, is with one of those car wash sponges. Let's see. I saw where Michelle said, does it matter which side of the Revolutionary plywood you paint on? No. I've used both sides, and it doesn't matter. You can use either one. One side's a little darker than the other, but it doesn't really matter.
Can you put the link for the paint pens in there?
Are we talking about the brush tip pens?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
If I join the Template Club, does that give access to Painters Clubhouse?
No. So Template Club is separate from Painters Clubhouse. And so if you're wanting to join both, I would recommend you join Clubhouse first, because then you get 20% off of Template Club.
To reduce shipping costs, do you think shipping door hangers in a poly mailer would work?
No, probably not. That would probably end up broken.
Sherry meant what jigsaw blade size?
Jigsaw blades. I can talk about that. So get the ones that say scrolling blade for wood, and make sure they're 20 TPI, which stands for tips per inch. That will give you like a finer cut. You probably still will end up with a little bit of splintering, but you can always sand that away. Okay, here's the link to those brush pens that I was just talking about. Took me a second to find it.
Somebody's asking about your Christmas gift app.
My Christmas gift app.
The one you were talking about?
Yes. Oh, it's Kathy. So yeah, I can't show you on my phone because my phone is being used as a camera right now, but I have been loving that Christmas gift app, Kathy. I'll grab the link to it also. I've got my Fab 5 links pulled up here so I can, here it is, the gift tracker app. I've been using this ever since I told y'all about it. And it's great because I've been putting in what I've bought for each person. I was just telling Aaliyah before we got on here earlier, I said, it's really been good because when something arrives in the mail, I've been going into that app and marking it as arrived instead of purchased. And that lets me know what has come in the mail and what hasn't. So there were even a couple of items on there that I was like, oh, I forgot I ordered that like a month ago and it still hasn't gotten here yet. And so that reminds me to follow up on stuff like that. Delaney says, how did you learn to do all of this? It's kind of a long story, Delaney, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I've always kind of been semi-crafty all my life. I started out scrapbooking and card making and jewelry making. I would paint a thing here or two, but I never would have called myself a painter or an artist. I always felt like I wasn't good at it. And that's just because I hadn't practiced it much. And so if you feel like you can't do this, let me just tell you, you can. Anybody can learn how to do this. I started out getting started in painting a little bit more back when my husband was deployed to Afghanistan. I would do craft parties once a month. We called them Pinterest parties. We did door hangers a few times, and each time I would like paint mine by myself ahead of time, so I had an example for everybody to look at. And then at the party, I would kind of explain to everybody how I painted mine. And so I kind of got into teaching it. And next thing you know, my husband's home from Afghanistan. We needed extra money. About a year later, I started doing paint parties in my hometown, in other people's homes, and in restaurants. And I did that for 2 or 3 years at least before I started teaching online. And I got online just to be able to share this with other people. Next thing you know, I'm starting a membership and teaching, and it just kind of all blew up from there. What is your favorite design to paint? Riley, that changes from day to day. It's usually whatever the most recent thing I painted is. Like, I really love this little leopard. And I think it's like, usually it's the things that challenge me, right? And so this little leopard definitely challenged me because the background of her fur, let me switch angles here. Like her fur and stuff has a lot of different colors kind of swirled into it. And then we had to add the leopard spots on top of all of that. And you can see there's a little bit of shading because it's darker down here. It's lighter up here. And then I even went back later and added a little bit of glitter on her. I'm starting to embrace glitter. Aaliyah is shocked. And so the stuff like this that challenges me to step outside my comfort zone a little bit and to try a new technique or to try, I don't know, a different style. That's usually whatever becomes my newest favorite because it was a challenge, and that makes you love it all the more. Delaney says, I've been a crafter for years as well. I've been doing crafting on the Cricut. Did well till COVID, but I love painting. Delaney, I started out with the Cricut too. I bought my first Cricut in 2009, and I started paper crafting, and then it kind of grew from there. And now I hardly ever use my Cricut. I did use it just a few nights ago, actually, though. I cut out some stickers that I needed for packaging for something. But yeah, I hardly ever use my Cricut anymore, but I enjoy it. It's fun. Sheila said, do you have favorite colors you like to work with more than others? So yeah, I tend to navigate or like gravitate. That's the right word. I tend to gravitate toward a lot of the similar colors. I did have a Tamara's favorites paint list. Do we still have that up on the site if I grab the link to it?
Yeah, we do.
Here it is, I believe. Let me make sure this link works before I drop it for you all. It does. Here, I've actually got a little list for you guys. You can go and click on it, and it's kind of like a checklist. So next time you go shopping at Hobby Lobby or wherever, or if you're on the DecoArt website, you can just add some of these items to your cart. And so a lot of these are ones you'll see me use over and over and over again on lives and stuff. And I probably do need to reevaluate that list because I'm sure they've retired a couple of colors. Like peony pink was always one of my favorites, and they retired that color. So I had to come up with a new favorite pink. So Aaliyah's putting that down on her to-do list right now, is to have me update that list.
Well, we updated it when they retired some, but it's
Okay.
probably time again.
It's probably time again. Yeah, because I've discovered new colors since then as well that DecoArt has come out with that I've added to my list. Sheila said lions. We do have a couple of lion templates over on our site. One of them kind of looks like Simba from The Lion King. So go check that one out. Just type in baby lion or something over at shopdoorhangers.com. I think I even may have an old tutorial on YouTube for it. That was before I even moved into this craft room. It's when I was crafting down the hall in like the storage room. What is your favorite color? In life green. In paint colors, It changes all the time. It used to be this bluegrass green. I loved it so much. I even painted my front door this color. But as far as like just general paint colors, green is kind of my like favorite. I have touch of green in almost every room in my house. And I love green clothes. Michelle said, I used your list to make my Amazon wish list. First time I made a list. We did that this year, Michelle. We like all my kids made their own Amazon wish list. It made shopping a whole lot easier for my teens.
Are you going to make and sell any more of the paint storage boxes?
Yes, Kelly, we have the supplies. We just need the time. We bought some more supplies to make 50 more of those paint storage boxes. So we probably will start on that after Christmas break. You like my topper today? This one is the elf stripes. We mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but maybe you just stopped on. All right. We're going to start wrapping it up here. Does anybody have any final questions before we log off? This was a fun live Q&A today. I've had fun with you guys. If you want to check out any of the things we've talked about on my Amazon list, I don't know if I put my Amazon favorites in there or not, but I can put the link to my Amazon favorites down here in the comments. I can't talk and type at the same time. And then if you want to get any of our templates or designs in our shop, that is at shopdoorhangers.com. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.